All right, moving on to 9, amendment to professional services agreement with RMC Water Environmental for wastewater treatment facility improvements, presented by Mandeep, senior engineer. Hello.
Mr. Mayor and the council members, good evening. Tonight I will be making a recommendation on to add the new secondary clarifier design to the existing contract that has been awarded back in November 2016. So with that, I'm going to start with a little bit of background of the wastewater facility. Our wastewater facility treats the wastewater from our community, all of the community. It was constructed in the 70s, and then it was expanded back in 2005, the big expansion. Currently, it has the permitted capacity of 10.5 million gallons per day to treat and discharge safely to the river or to the ponds. The current average flow to the facility is 6.5 million gallons per day. And to put the things in perspective, total average solids loading, the solids coming to the plant is approximately 11,000 pounds per day. This is the aerial picture of the facility. And the facility is constructed of several process units, and each process units do its own job. And today's talk is primarily on this portion, the secondary clarifiers. And I'm going to go over the function of the secondary clarifiers. So back in November 2016, the council awarded the professional services agreement for the design to RMC Water and Environment to design the recommended projects from the Priority 1 and Priority 2 projects. The Priority 1 and Priority 2 projects are the projects that were approved through the rate study in 2016. And back in 2016, the recommendation was to construct the improvements in 2 phases. And those 2 phases they were here. And the council approved phase 1 to moving forward with phase 1. And while the staff was still working on phase 2, the pre-design and some alternative analysis and some other evaluations. So between November and January, we have received additional information about the alternative analysis. The evaluations about the secondary clarifiers have been completed. And with that, based on that information, our design engineer and the city staff is recommending adding the design of the secondary clarifier project to phase 1, moving from phase 2 to phase 1. So this was in phase 2, so now it is being recommended as adding into phase 2. So this is the potential location of, not potential, the actual location where the new secondary clarifier will be located. So just a brief summary of the function of the secondary clarifier. The function of the secondary clarifiers is to separate the solids from the treated wastewater, or treated water, I would say. And typically, when they design it, each clarifier needs a specific area to handle or to remove the solids from the water for a given amount of flow. And for the solids difficult to settle, there are different types of solids at the different wastewater facilities. Our facility is experiencing the solids, the sludge, that is difficult to settle. So then that will leave us 2 options. Number 1 is to provide an additional area to settle. Number 2, to evaluate the solids for potential process changes that can add additional capacity into the secondary process. And within the last couple of months, we have the staff was working with RMC and other industry experts to make any process changes. And based on those evaluations, the staff is recommending adding additional area to handle the solid separation. So typically this is the side picture, typical picture of the secondary clarifier. Water enters at the bottom, then goes all around. The solid settle at the bottom, that gets removed at the bottom, and then the water flows through this trough and then goes to the additional treatment. So in general, this is what it does. The water comes, the solid settle at the bottom that we remove from the bottom, and then this water from the top is a clear water and goes to additional treatment. At our plant, it goes to disinfection through chlorine gas. So we have 3 existing clarifiers, and all of 3 clarifiers need to remain in service all the times. And we do not have any needed redundancy to take any of the clarifiers down for repairs. If anything happens to any of the clarifiers, then there is a big potential for us for permit violations, and then that comes with the fines from the state. So what the new secondary clarifier will do, it will provide additional redundancy for us to do the needed repairs on the existing clarifiers that need repair very quickly. And it will also provide additional operations flexibility to meet the permit compliance objectives. Sometimes the facility faces unexpected loadings from the community. Then the wastewater, the treatment gets disturbed. This will provide additional redundancy to handle those variations in the loading. And the design and construction in phase 1 will also provide cost-effective means to save money, because it is going to be a one project, and all the team is working on it, and there will be one contractor. So mobilization, demobilization costs as a separate project will be eliminated. So with that, I recommend to authorize the city managers to execute amendment number 1 to the existing professional services agreement in the amount of $293,410 to prepare the design documents for a new secondary clarifier, with the finding that it is in the best interest of the city. Any questions, please?
Any questions from council? Seeing none, you know what he's talking, students, just for your sake, do you know what he's actually talking about?
You don't want to know.
Yeah, it's that smelly thing that's down south of town that takes all the stuff that runs downhill into the pipes. And when you flush your toilets, the garbage disposals, or anything like that. And trying to make sure that, we follow the law that the state has put out in environmental things. And so, any more?
And just through the mayor,
Absolutely.
especially to the students that are here, if you ever have an opportunity to set up a site visit,
Tours?
a tour of a facility, that I highly recommend going to our wastewater treatment facility right here in town and seeing what it takes to operate just the kind of the backside of city operations. It's an amazing facility. It's extremely clean. It's run at the highest level, and I just recommend it to you guys if you ever have that opportunity, as a class, as a group, whatever. If you have that interest, you have an interest in engineering, anything like that, it certainly would be a moment for you to take a look at what cities have to provide at different levels.
Absolutely. Another comment is water and wastewater. That's environmental things that we need to deal with. There's a lot of science involved in that. You can put put to use your interests of that kind of a thing, and they are very, very good paying jobs. I'll tell you that right now. You don't lose your job if you get into that field. You're definitely sometimes fought over by municipalities and cities and counties that have treatment plants of any kind. So it's a good, steady job. Okay, with that, yes. Okay, yeah. With that, I'm looking for a motion.
Through the mayor, I make a recommendation to authorize the manager to execute amendment number 1 in existing professional services, Vern Design documents, the new secondary clarifier.
You have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Seeing, so unanimous, again. So we will move on.